Go ahead and try, hit me if you're able. Can't you see that my relationship is stable? I can see you hate the way we intermingle, but I think you're just mad cause you're single. You break us apart, we'll just come back you up, but we'll always be trying to pretend that you are. I am
For Garnet's costume, I used tulip paints and acrylic paints and spray paint. Although I would highly recommend that you get spray paint because 1, it's a lot easier. 2, it's going to take you less time. 3, it's more opaque. And on stretchy clothing like this, it won't break up as much because that's a problem that I was having with the acrylic paints. So stay away from acrylic paints if you can. The only reason why I use them is because I couldn't find the colors I needed in a spray paint. And I was also very pressed for time. As you can see, before I started painting, I outlined the design in silver marker so that way I knew what I was painting and what not to paint. Now in this next clip, it's been a full day and the paint has dried, and I went ahead and added the pastel pink to the left side of the shirt, and now on the right side I'm going to paint over that star because no matter how much paint I put on it, it was not as bright as I needed it to be. Off camera, I spray painted the bright pink portion of this outfit and the dark purple portion of this outfit. Moving on to the shoulder pads, I really thought this was going to be the most challenging part of the outfit, but luckily I had a spare shoulder pad in an outfit that I never wore, so I just hot glued it onto the shoulders, angled upwards a little bit, and then I placed some extra fabric that I had from cutting off the sleeves of this outfit, and I glued them on top of the shoulder pads, and I cut around them and then hot glued them inward so that way you really couldn't see all my ugly cutting mistakes. Okay, we don't want to see that. I'm trying to make it as clean as I possibly could within this short amount of time. Now the glasses were a full visor, but I decided to cut them. Wasn't sure if that was gonna work, but it ended up working, so hey, so I keep cutting it. It was a little difficult because I wasn't sure if it was gonna shatter into a million pieces and get in my eye, but luckily it didn't. So if you do have a pair of glasses, please use caution, and hopefully they aren't actually made of glass. These were plastic, so lucky me. Now this was the most tedious part by far, creating the perfect hips for Garnet. If I did not have hips with this outfit, like I wouldn't have felt completely like Garnet. So I needed to make sure that I had some big old thick pads and a small little stomach, okay? To make sure that I had that full muscly Garnet effect. I am taking what is actually to cut your meat at the dinner table. I'm taking that, yes I am, and I'm cutting this foam. Now this foam is a little bit hard. I wish I had got a softer version of foam to, you know, be a little bit more cushiony and malleable, but this is what I had. So I'm just making sure I cut off all the excess. I cut out the shape first, and then I start cutting around the edges a little bit to create a rise in it. So I want the edges of this foam to be as flat as they possibly can to make sure that when I put my leggings on, they're not jutting out and looking robotic. First, I'm starting out with the good old invisible glue stick. I'm just gonna glue my brows down, make sure they are nice and flat by combing them upwards to get them as flat on my face as possible. And then I'll clean up the excess glue with a makeup wipe. Make sure they're nice and dry. And then I pat them down with some translucent powder. Next, I'm gonna take my Makeup Forever Flash Color Case, and I'm gonna take colors red and pink, and I'm gonna mix those together to create the perfect foundation shade for Garnet. Now taking a red water-based paint, I'm going to mix that on a powder puff and use that to cover the shadow on my beard. Once I'm satisfied with that, I move on to Garnet's foundation, and I just take the end of that fork and I just smear it all over my face. And then I blend it, honey, and then I blend it, honey. And I was a little worried I was gonna end up too much like Princess Bubblegum, but don't worry, I do shade and contour it out. As a last second thought, I took some of it off so that way my third eye could adhere as best as possible. And then putting some of that in my ear. I can't stand foundation in my ear, but you know, for the culture. Anyway, I'm blending it down my neck. And once I've covered my entire face, I'm going to take Meron's Modeling Putty / Wax. And I'm going to put some rubber gloves on and I'm going to start molding it to create the shape around this purple plastic eye that I got. Now the eye is flat back, so I just took some of the putty and I placed it right on the back so that way it would adhere nice and good to my forehead without glue. But I decided to use glue just in case. I used Lit Cosmetics the first time. Wouldn't recommend it. I would actually recommend eyelash glue because that lasted all night. And right here you see me applying more putty to create eyelets, or at least what I thought were eyelets. It didn't look as good my first time, but good enough. And now I am blending the edges of the putty into my skin so that way it is seamless. In the end, I decided to add a little bit more putty for a stronger eyelid area. Now I'm gonna take a little itty bitty lip brush and paint over that Caucasian putty with Garnet's favorite foundation shade. Now I am finally covering up those Heihachi brows. And boom, I'm a natural triclops. Despite all my efforts, I could still see the color of my brow hair and my mustache showing through, so I went in with a nice opaque red lipstick. A liquid lipstick, honey, so you know it's powerful. And then I blended Garnet's foundation over on top of it. Now I'm going to dip into Sugar Pill Love Plus as a setting powder. Unfortunately, it did not set how I wanted it to, but that's okay, we'll get to that later. For now, I'm going to dip into this maroon brown and this darker brown, and I'm going to use that as a contour. And I know it didn't look maroon brown in the pan, but that's because this is green screened and keyed, and the color is a little bit off. Now we're gonna set with my girl Airspun powder. I had to do a test right under the cheekbone just to see how light it was gonna look after I blended it, and not that bad. So I went in all on my under eye, all over the face. I said, we are setting this mug today, honey. I don't want anything slipping and sliding around. And luckily she did that for me. So thanks, Airspun, you my girl. Once the whole face is set, I'm going back in with the maroon brown that I used to contour and just creating dimension on my nose bridge. I'm going to accentuate and raise that brow bone just a little bit. And I'm going to create a little bit of a button nose. And now it's time to create Garnet's circle lips. So using that same maroon brown, I'm going to create a shadow underneath my own lip, and I'm going to cancel out my own Cupid's bow. She's a diva and demands to be seen at all times, but today is not her day. The Airspun washed me out a little bit, so I'm going back in and creating more shadows. Now using my favorite Sugar Pill palette, the now discontinued Feline Fancy, and I'm going to take the color Kiss Kiss and apply this to the highest part of my cheekbone. I'm going to apply this to the tip of my nose, my chin, and my jawline. Now going in with the pink color Swack, I'm going to apply this to the same areas I applied the red. As you can see, Swack is that girl. She is so bright. I love this color so much. Now I'm going to use Urban Decay's lipstick color After Dark. It's this nice, beautiful maroon pink, and I'm going to apply this all over the lips, mainly for moisture because they were feeling really dry after that powder. And now I'm going to use LA Girl's lip liner in Vamp, and I'm going to line all around my mouth. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to use the highlighter pink Swack on the highest point of my lips. Right here, I'm trying to eliminate my Cupid's bow yet again, but yet she persists. And I'm going to use this on my bottom lip as well. And I'm going to create 2 little triangles on my mouth using the Vamp lip liner. And this is to give my lips a more plump effect. And now I'm going back in with swag to really accentuate that plumpness. I'm putting more swag on the eyes. Swackity, swackity, swag. We're gonna put that ish back on the eye, okay? And now I'm going to take Sugar Pill's Countess, which is this beautiful shimmery dark red with blue flux in it. And I'm going to put this on the outer V of my eye to create dimension. I thought I filmed it, but I did not. I used some red and dark red glitter on my eyelid from Lit Cosmetics in Firecracker and I Feel Love. Next up, I'm going to coat my eyelashes with some mascara to prep them for our next step, which is coating them with a bright pink powder. And for our final step, I'm going to use this heavy-duty green marble setting spray. This stuff burns, so like, don't use it every day, and we done. So that is it for today's look. I hope you guys enjoy. I'm actually so happy. I keep looking in the viewfinder. I'm so happy about how this outfit turned out. I like use craft paints. As you can see, it's all popping out everywhere, but whatever. I'm just glad I made it, you know, a couple days before Halloween. It is so hard as an adult to find time to make stuff, but this was such like, wow. I really, the talent jumped out, the innovation jumped out. So if you guys like this video, make sure to let me know down below. And until next time, it's been me, Garnet, and I'll see you guys later. Oh, one more thing. I love you.